Hello again, dreamer. Get comfy. Let the world fade away. Tonight, we travel to a forest that remembers every dream ever dreamed. Let's begin. In the year 2037 AD, as the first rays of sunlight crept over the 7 hills of Rome, Marcus Aurelius Numerius prepared for another day in his modest domus near the Forum Romanum. His home, though far from the grand marble palaces of senators and emperors, stood as a testament to middle-class Roman prosperity. Sturdy brick walls, adorned with simple frescoes depicting scenes of commerce and accounting, enclosed a small atrium where morning light danced through the compluvium above. Unlike the sprawling estates of the patrician class, Marcus's residence was practical and efficient, much like its owner. The household stirred to life as slaves began their daily chores. In the kitchen, Lucilla, a housekeeper who had served Marcus's family for 2 decades, supervised the preparation of breakfast. The smell of warm bread and honey mingled with the faint aroma of olive oil wafting from the small altar dedicated to Mercury, patron god of merchants and accountants. Marcus paused before this shrine each morning, offering a quick prayer for accurate calculations and honest dealing. The senior accountant to the prestigious tabularium, Rome's official record-keeping office, Marcus occupied a position of considerable importance within the bureaucratic machinery of the empire. Though lacking the glamour of military service or the prestige of political office, his role ensured the smooth functioning of Rome's financial administration. Every denarius collected in taxes, every sestertius disbursed for public works, passed through the meticulous scrutiny of men like Marcus. His work maintained the delicate balance between imperial revenue and expenditure that kept the vast Roman state operational. Marcus's typical day began with a careful review of his tools: wax tablets, styluses, abasi, and papyrus scrolls. These instruments of his trade lay arranged on his writing desk with mathematical precision. Nearby, a locked chest contained his personal copies of imperial decrees regarding taxation and financial regulations. Above his desk hung a framed copy of Emperor Alexander Severus's recent edict, emphasizing the importance of fiscal integrity, a constant reminder of the weight of his responsibilities. The true measure of Marcus's significance became evident when considering the scope of his work. From tracking grain shipments destined for the Annona, the public food supply, to verifying the accounts of provincial governors, his calculations influenced decisions made by the highest levels of government. When the Senate debated funding for new aqueducts or temple renovations, they relied upon figures verified by accountants like Marcus. Even the emperor himself depended on these meticulous bureaucrats to ensure that the treasury remained sufficiently stocked to fund Rome's legions and maintain the elaborate system of public entertainment that kept the plebeians content. Yet, despite the importance of his position, Marcus lived without ostentation. His toga, while well-maintained, lacked the elaborate embroidery of higher-ranking officials. His single signet ring bore no precious stones, merely an engraved seal bearing his name and profession. This understated lifestyle reflected not only his personal values but also the expectations placed upon those handling the empire's finances. A display of wealth beyond one's means could raise suspicions of corruption, a charge no Roman accountant could afford to face. As Marcus finished his morning preparations, he contemplated the day ahead. The The previous evening's dispatches from Ostia had arrived, bringing news of delayed grain shipments and customs discrepancies that would require immediate attention. Such challenges were commonplace in his line of work, demanding both technical skill and diplomatic tact. With a final glance at his neatly organized workspace, Marcus gathered his documents and prepared to walk the familiar path to the tabularium, where another day of maintaining Rome's financial order awaited him. The streets of early morning Rome presented a stark contrast to the bustling chaos that would later consume them. As Marcus stepped out into Vicus Jugarius, the narrow street connecting his residential district to the Forum Romanum, he found himself part of a steady stream of professionals, making their way to various administrative buildings. Merchants were just beginning to set up their stalls, their voices carrying softly through the crisp air as they negotiated space with delivery carts, bringing fresh produce from nearby farms. The rhythmic clatter of hooves against stone paving stones provided a familiar backdrop to Marcus's thoughts as he navigated the winding path toward the tabularium. At the corner of the Basilica Julia, Marcus paused to exchange formal greetings with Gaius Valerius, a fellow accountant whose specialized expertise in maritime trade calculations often intersected with Marcus's own work. Their conversation, conducted in the measured tones characteristic of Roman bureaucrats, touched upon recent developments in harbor tariffs and the anticipated impact of seasonal weather patterns on shipping schedules. Despite the mundane nature of their discussion, both men understood the crucial importance of maintaining open lines of communication between different departments within the imperial bureaucracy. Continuing his journey, Marcus passed through the Forum's central plaza, where maintenance workers were already busy sweeping away yesterday's debris. The grand temples surrounding the space cast long shadows across the open area, their marble columns gleaming in the strengthening sunlight. He nodded respectfully to several senior officials emerging from early meetings at the Curia Julia, recognizing the subtle distinctions in their togas and insignia that marked their varying ranks within the government hierarchy. Each acknowledgement carried its own coded significance, reinforcing the complex web of professional relationships that defined Roman administrative culture. Upon reaching the tabularium's imposing entrance, Marcus joined a short queue of colleagues waiting to pass through security checks. Here, the atmosphere shifted noticeably as the casual camaraderie of the street gave way to the more formal protocols of official business. Guards meticulously inspected each arriving bureaucrat's credentials, while junior clerks distributed the day's initial dispatches and memoranda. Marcus accepted his packet of documents with practiced efficiency, quickly skimming through the contents to identify priority items requiring immediate attention. Inside the building, the transition from public space to professional domain became complete. The echoing corridors, lined with countless shelves of archived records, exuded an aura of institutional permanence that Marcus found simultaneously comforting and intimidating. Junior accountants scurried about their tasks, while more experienced colleagues moved with deliberate purpose toward their respective offices. At precisely 8 bells, the traditional starting time for government work, Marcus entered his private chamber, a modest but functional space whose walls bore witness to countless hours of meticulous calculation and documentation. The morning routine commenced with a series of established rituals. First came the inspection of his workspace, ensuring that every tool and document remained precisely where it should be. Wax tablets were arranged according to their level of urgency, while papyrus scrolls containing reference materials were carefully positioned for easy access. Next followed the ceremonial sharpening of his stylus, a task Marcus approached with almost religious devotion. The soft scraping sound against the whetstone served as a meditative prelude to the day's intellectual labors, helping him focus his mind on the precise nature of his work. The junior clerk arrived promptly at 8:30, with the first batch of incoming reports, triggering the commencement of actual work. Marcus began with the simplest calculations, allowing his mind to warm up gradually to the complex mental arithmetic required for more challenging tasks. Customs declarations from Ostia demanded verification. Merchant tax assessments needed cross-referencing with imperial rate schedules, and provincial tribute statements required reconciliation against expected revenues. Each task followed a carefully choreographed sequence designed to maximize efficiency while minimizing errors. Throughout this process, Marcus maintained a running tally of completed work on a separate wax tablet, noting not only the quantity but also the quality of his calculations. This self-monitoring system, developed over years of practice, helped him maintain the high standards expected of senior accountants. Periodically, he would pause to check his work against standard reference tables, using both traditional Roman numerals and the newer Indian Arabic system that had recently gained favor among certain circles of bureaucrats for its computational advantages. By late morning, the rhythm of work had settled into a comfortable pattern. The occasional interruption, a messenger delivering urgent correspondence, a colleague seeking clarification on a shared project, an apprentice needing guidance, punctuated the otherwise methodical progression of tasks. Through it all, Marcus maintained his focus, drawing upon years of experience to navigate the intricate web of Roman financial administration with practiced ease. The morning hours represented the most productive period of his day, when his mind was sharpest and few external demands competed for his attention. As the sun climbed higher in the sky, casting sharp shadows through the office windows, Marcus allowed himself a brief moment of satisfaction at having successfully processed nearly half of the day's workload. As the sun reached its zenith, casting short shadows across the tabularium's courtyard, Marcus faced what would become the day's defining challenge. A courier from Ostia arrived breathless and disheveled, bearing sealed dispatches that immediately signaled trouble. The wax seal bore the distinctive mark of emergency communications, 3 horizontal lines beneath the governor's emblem, indicating issues of significant concern. Breaking the seal revealed a cascade of problems that would test Marcus's expertise and resolve. The primary issue centered around a massive discrepancy in the monthly grain shipment records. According to the Port Authority's manifest, 27 large transport ships had arrived carrying wheat from Egypt. Yet the warehouse overseers reported receiving goods from only 24 vessels. Worse still, the quantities recorded upon arrival fell nearly 15% below the amounts listed on departure manifests. The potential implications were staggering. Such a shortfall could disrupt Rome's critical grain dole, potentially leading to unrest among the city's massive population. Complicating matters further. The accompanying documentation revealed additional irregularities. Customs officers reported collecting duties based on inflated cargo values, suggesting possible collusion between merchants and port officials. Meanwhile, the timing of these discrepancies coincided suspiciously with recent changes in personnel at both the harbor master's office and the main granary. Marcus recognized the hallmarks of a sophisticated scheme, likely involving multiple layers of falsified records and coordinated deception. Summoning his team of junior accountants, Marcus initiated a systematic investigation. They began by cross-referencing shipping logs against independent merchant records obtained through regular audits. Using double-entry bookkeeping methods pioneered by Roman financiers, they painstakingly reconstructed each transaction point in the supply chain. The complexity of the task grew exponentially as they discovered inconsistencies spreading across multiple departments. From initial purchase orders in Alexandria to final distribution records in Rome's urban warehouses, the investigation's scope expanded rapidly as Marcus identified several interconnected anomalies. Patterns emerged showing regular discrepancies in shipments arriving during specific lunar phases, suggesting coordination with tides for clandestine operations. Furthermore, the analysis of crew manifests revealed suspicious overlaps between supposedly distinct voyages, hinting at phantom ships created to mask missing cargoes. Each new discovery added layers of complexity to an already intricate puzzle. Technical challenges arose at every turn. The Egyptian records arrived in both Greek and Demotic scripts, requiring specialist translators whose interpretations sometimes varied significantly. Currency conversion rates fluctuated depending on which exchange houses handled transactions, introducing additional variables into already complex calculations. Marcus found himself constantly switching between different numerical systems: Roman numerals for official documentation, Greek numerals for Eastern trade records, and increasingly the more efficient Indian Arabic system for internal calculations. Time management became critical as Marcus balanced this investigation against ongoing responsibilities. He implemented a strict triage system, delegating routine tasks to trusted subordinates, while personally handling the most sensitive aspects of the case. Hour-by-hour schedules dictated which evidence to review, which calculations to verify, and which witnesses to summon for questioning. The pressure mounted as word of the investigation reached higher levels of administration, bringing increased scrutiny and tighter deadlines. Professional relationships proved both asset and obstacle. While some colleagues eagerly contributed expertise, Others exhibited defensive resistance, particularly those whose departments showed signs of involvement. Marcus navigated these dynamics with careful diplomacy, knowing that accusations of misconduct could ruin careers and trigger damaging political conflicts. He maintained meticulous documentation of every step in the investigation, aware that his findings would need to withstand intense examination by superior authorities. By late afternoon, the investigation had uncovered a sophisticated network of fraudulent practices extending from North African ports to Roman distribution centers. Yet each answered question seemed to generate new mysteries. Why did certain ships consistently report lower than average losses? What explained the peculiar timing of staff rotations at key facilities? How had such a widespread scheme remained undetected for so long? These questions haunted Marcus as he pressed forward, driven by both professional duty and personal commitment to maintaining the integrity of Rome's financial system. The stress began to take its toll. Marcus found himself massaging the bridge of his nose more frequently, feeling tension headaches develop behind his eyes. His stylus hand cramped from hours of continuous writing, and his stomach rumbled, reminding him that he'd skipped both his usual midday meal and the brief rest period typically taken after lunch. Yet the intellectual challenge invigorated him, pushing him to apply every ounce of his accumulated knowledge and experience to unraveling the mystery. As sunset approached, Marcus realized that resolving this case would require more than just technical skill. It demanded strategic thinking, careful relationship management, and, perhaps most importantly, the courage to pursue truth, regardless of where it might lead. The weight of responsibility settled heavily on his shoulders, but it came accompanied by a profound sense of in protecting the Empire's financial integrity. He wasn't merely balancing accounts, he was safeguarding the very foundation of Roman stability and prosperity. As the fading light of dusk filtered through the tabularium's high windows, Marcus reluctantly set aside the investigation's documents, knowing that the day's official obligations demanded closure. The transition from focused investigation to routine administrative duties proved particularly challenging, as his mind continued to churn through the complexities of the grain shipment discrepancies. Nevertheless, professional protocol required him to address outstanding matters before departing for home. Junior clerks began filing in, bearing stacks of pending paperwork that needed final approval before being archived for the night. The first order of business involved reviewing the day's completed transactions. Marcus methodically examined each entry, comparing them against the original instructions and supporting documentation. His stylus moved with practiced precision across the wax tablets, marking corrections and adding marginal notes where necessary. Particularly important were the weekly tax collection reports from various districts, which required careful scrutiny to ensure accuracy before transmission to the Imperial Treasury. Any errors at this stage could create cascading problems throughout the entire administrative system. Interactions with colleagues took on a more relaxed tone as the day wound down. Quintus Marcellus, head of the Municipal Finance Department, stopped by to discuss upcoming budget allocations for street maintenance. Their conversation, while technically professional, carried the familiarity of long association. They exchanged opinions about recent innovations in accounting methods, with Quintus expressing interest in Marcus's experiments with Indian Arabic numerals for complex calculations. Another colleague, Flavia Terzia, sought Marcus's advice regarding a particularly complicated inheritance case involving disputed property valuations. These exchanges, while business-related, provided welcome relief from the intensity of the earlier investigation. Dinner arrangements presented their own logistical considerations. As a senior official, Marcus regularly received invitations to various social gatherings, but tonight's circumstances demanded careful consideration. Accepting Senator Lucius's invitation to a banquet celebrating his daughter's engagement would normally be expected, but given the ongoing investigation, Marcus opted instead for a quiet meal at home. He dispatched a polite declination via a trusted messenger, citing pressing work commitments, a decision that drew understanding nods from colleagues who appreciated the gravity of his current responsibilities. The commute home offered a rare opportunity for reflection. Walking through Rome's evening streets, Marcus observed the city's transformation from daytime bustle to nighttime vibrancy. Street vendors lit their oil lamps, casting warm glows across market squares where citizens gathered for inexpensive meals. Theatrical performances drew crowds to temporary stages erected near public fountains, while gambling dens and wine shops attracted their usual clientele. This panorama of urban life reminded Marcus of the human dimension behind the numbers he manipulated daily. Every denarius accounted for represented someone's labor, someone's livelihood. Upon reaching his domus, Marcus found Lucilla had prepared a simple but nourishing meal of lentil stew and barley bread. The housekeeper's presence proved invaluable as she efficiently managed domestic affairs, allowing Marcus to focus on his professional responsibilities. Over dinner, they discussed household matters, the need for roof repairs, the approaching festival season, and the health of various extended family members. These conversations, though seemingly mundane, provided essential grounding in personal reality after a day immersed in imperial finances. Evening rituals helped Marcus decompress from the day's stresses. He spent time in his small garden, tending to herbs and vegetables that thrived in Rome's mild climate. The physical activity of weeding and watering proved therapeutic, allowing his mind to process the day's events subconsciously. Later, he retired to his study to review personal financial records, a habit ingrained through years of professional practice. Maintaining meticulous accounts of his own modest wealth reinforced his understanding of the challenges faced by ordinary citizens navigating Rome's complex economic landscape. Before retiring, Marcus performed his nightly documentation ritual. He updated his personal journal, recording observations about the day's events and noting areas requiring follow-up. Particularly important were his detailed notes about the investigation, including hypotheses formed during evening reflection and potential lines of inquiry to pursue tomorrow. This practice had served him well throughout his career, providing valuable perspective when tackling complex problems. Finally, He secured all official documents in his iron-bound chest, double-checking the lock mechanism before turning off the oil lamp. As Marcus prepared for bed, his thoughts inevitably returned to the unresolved investigation. The day's discoveries had opened more questions than answers, creating a mental backlog that refused to dissipate even as physical fatigue set in. Yet he found comfort in the knowledge that tomorrow would bring new opportunities to advance the inquiry. The rhythmic sounds of the household settling for the night, Lucilla's soft footsteps, the distant murmur of neighborhood conversations, the occasional bark of a watchdog, gradually lulled him towards sleep, where his subconscious would continue processing the day's complexities. This evening routine, though predictable in structure, held deep significance for Marcus. It represented the necessary balance between professional obligation and personal well-being, between the demands of empire and the needs of individual existence. In these quiet hours, away from the formal constraints of office life, Marcus found space to consider not just the technical aspects of his work, but its broader implications for Roman society. The numbers he manipulated by day translated into real-world consequences affecting thousands of lives, a responsibility that weighed heavily yet ultimately provided meaning to his chosen profession. As Marcus lay in the quiet darkness of his cubicle, the day's events unfolded in his mind like entries in an endless ledger, each one demanding careful consideration. The investigation into the grain shipment discrepancies had revealed more than just financial irregularities. It had exposed fundamental weaknesses in the empire's administrative infrastructure. These reflections were not mere academic musings. They carried profound implications for the future of Roman governance and the stability of the state itself. The most troubling realization concerned the systemic nature of the fraud. What had initially appeared as isolated incidents now seemed indicative of a deeply entrenched culture of corruption spanning multiple levels of administration. Marcus understood that such widespread malfeasance didn't develop overnight. It must have grown incrementally, exploiting minor loopholes and procedural ambiguities until becoming an accepted part of operational practice. This gradual normalization of unethical behavior represented a far greater threat to Roman society than any single act of embezzlement or smuggling. His extensive experience in financial administration had taught Marcus to recognize patterns that others might overlook. The investigation's findings suggested a disturbing trend. The increasing complexity of the empire's bureaucracy had created opportunities for exploitation rather than enhanced accountability. As new departments and oversight mechanisms were introduced, they often duplicated existing functions without establishing clear lines of authority or responsibility. This bureaucratic layering, while intended to improve efficiency, had paradoxically made it easier for corrupt practices to flourish beneath multiple levels of obfuscation. The implications extended beyond mere financial loss. The grain shipment discrepancies threatened the very foundation of Roman social stability. The annona, the system of free or subsidized grain distribution, served as a crucial safety valve for urban discontent. Manipulating this system risked undermining public trust in government institutions and could potentially spark civil unrest. Marcus knew that the plebeians' patience with shortages or price fluctuations was limited. especially during the hot summer months when tempers ran as high as the temperatures in crowded insulae. These concerns about institutional integrity resonated deeply with Marcus's personal philosophy of public service. Raised in a family of modest merchants, he had chosen a career in financial administration not for wealth or prestige, but because he believed in the importance of honest stewardship of public resources. Each discrepancy uncovered in the investigation felt like a personal affront to this principle. The thought of individuals enriching themselves at the expense of the common good filled him with a mixture of anger and sadness that went beyond professional disappointment. Moreover, Marcus recognized that addressing these issues required more than just identifying and punishing wrongdoers. The investigation had revealed how easily corrupt practices could spread through networks of mutual benefit and protection. Friends recommended friends for positions, relatives covered for relatives. Debts of gratitude created chains of complicity that transcended individual morality. Breaking these cycles would demand fundamental reforms in how appointments were made and how performance was evaluated, changes that would face significant resistance from entrenched interests. The challenge of implementing such reforms weighed heavily on Marcus's mind. He understood the delicate balance required between maintaining efficient administration and preventing abuse of power. Introducing stricter controls and more frequent audits could reduce opportunities for corruption, but might also stifle initiative and slow down necessary processes. Requiring more detailed documentation could enhance transparency, yet might overwhelm already burdened officials with paperwork. Finding the right combination of measures would require careful calibration and unwavering commitment from the highest levels of government. These reflections led Marcus to consider his own role in the broader context of Roman administration. As a senior accountant, he possessed unique insight into the empire's financial workings, but also bore responsibility for maintaining their integrity. The investigation had shown him that technical competence alone was insufficient. Moral courage and institutional vision were equally essential. He began formulating ideas for comprehensive reform, sketching outlines in his mind of how different departments could be restructured to enhance accountability while preserving efficiency. The personal dimension of these professional challenges manifested in unexpected ways. Marcus found himself reconsidering long-held assumptions about human nature and organizational behavior. His faith in people's inherent honesty had been tempered by the investigation's revelations, yet he refused to succumb to cynicism. Instead, he saw the need for creating systems that acknowledged human fallibility while channeling behavior toward ethical outcomes. This nuanced understanding marked a significant evolution in his approach to administrative work. As Marcus's thoughts turned to sleep, these reflections coalesced into a determination to pursue meaningful change. The investigation, though daunting in its complexity, had crystallized his understanding of what needed to be done. Tomorrow would bring new challenges and opportunities, but tonight's reflections had clarified his purpose and strengthened his resolve. In the silent hours before dawn, Marcus reaffirmed his commitment to serving not just the machinery of empire, but the ideals that should guide it: justice, integrity, and the common good. The morning sun rose once again over Rome, casting its golden light across the city's eternal stones. and Marcus Aurelius Numerius prepared for another day of accounting. To the casual observer, his life might appear monotonous, a never-ending cycle of numbers and calculations. Yet within this apparent routine lay the essence of Roman civilization itself, the intricate web of financial administration that sustained the world's greatest empire. Marcus's work exemplified how the most seemingly mundane activities could hold profound significance when viewed through the lens of historical impact. Each entry in Marcus's ledgers represented more than mere figures. They documented the lifeblood of an empire. The grain shipments he verified ensured that Rome's million inhabitants received their daily bread, maintaining social stability in the largest city of the ancient world. The tax assessments he calculated funded everything from the majestic Colosseum spectacles to the frontier legions that protected Roman borders. His meticulous record-keeping preserved the memory of transactions and decisions that shaped the destiny of millions, creating a paper trail that future generations would study to understand Roman society. The investigation into the grain shipment discrepancies demonstrated how even the smallest irregularities could ripple outward, affecting everything from urban peace to imperial security. Marcus's work prevented such anomalies from growing into crises that could undermine the Pax Romana, the centuries-long period of relative peace and stability that allowed Roman civilization to flourish. His dedication to accuracy and integrity acted as a bulwark against chaos, ensuring that the complex machinery of empire continued to function smoothly. Through Marcus's experiences, we gain insight into the true nature of historical significance. Great battles and famous leaders often dominate our understanding of the past. Yet the real story of civilization lies in the countless daily actions of ordinary people doing extraordinary work. Marcus's struggle to maintain accurate records, his pursuit of truth in the face of corruption, and his commitment to improving administrative systems represent the unsung heroism that built and sustained empires. His life reminds us that history is not just made by generals and emperors, but by diligent bureaucrats who ensure that societies can function and grow. The broader implications of Marcus's work extend far beyond his lifetime. The accounting methods he employed, the organizational systems he helped refine, and the ethical standards he upheld would influence financial practices for centuries to come. Modern accounting principles trace their roots back to Roman innovations, and many of the challenges Marcus faced, from combating fraud to balancing efficiency with accountability, remain relevant in today's global economy. His story illustrates how the solutions developed by ancient administrators laid the groundwork for contemporary financial systems. Most profoundly, Marcus's experience reveals the universal nature of human endeavor across time, though separated by nearly 2 millennia from modern readers. His daily struggles and triumphs resonate with timeless themes. The tension between individual integrity and institutional pressure, the challenge of maintaining personal values while serving a larger organization, and the quest for meaning in seemingly routine work are experiences that transcend historical periods. Marcus's life demonstrates that every era faces similar fundamental questions about ethics, responsibility, and the role of the individual within society. As Marcus walked to the tabularium on this new day, He carried with him not just wax tablets and styluses, but the weight of an empire's financial integrity. His story serves as a powerful reminder that history is composed not just of dramatic moments and famous figures, but of countless individuals performing their duties with care and dedication. In documenting and analyzing these everyday experiences, we gain a deeper understanding of how civilizations truly function and endure. Marcus's work may have seemed ordinary to his contemporaries, but through the lens of history, it shines as an example of how quiet professionalism and steadfast integrity can shape the course of human civilization. The enduring legacy of Marcus's work becomes even more apparent when we consider how his daily routines and professional challenges mirror those faced by modern accountants and financial administrators. The fundamental principles of double-entry bookkeeping, audit trails, and cross-referencing documentation that Marcus employed are still cornerstones of contemporary accounting practices. His careful attention to detail, methodical approach to problem-solving, and commitment to accuracy would be immediately recognizable to today's financial professionals. The investigation into the grain shipment discrepancies particularly highlights the timeless nature of administrative challenges. Modern accountants dealing with supply chain irregularities, customs fraud, or inventory discrepancies face remarkably similar issues. The sophisticated network of corruption Marcus uncovered demonstrates how financial malfeasance often operates through complex systems rather than isolated incidents, a lesson that remains painfully relevant in today's global economy. The methods he developed for tracking anomalies and identifying patterns in financial data foreshadowed modern forensic accounting technique. Moreover, Marcus's experience underscores the crucial role of institutional memory in maintaining societal stability. The meticulous records he maintained, though seemingly mundane at the time, provide invaluable insights into Roman economic practices, trade patterns, and administrative procedures. Just as archaeologists and historians today study ancient documents to understand past civilizations, future generations will rely on contemporary financial records to reconstruct our current era. This continuity of documentation serves as a bridge connecting different periods of human history. The psychological aspects of Marcus's work also resonate with modern experiences. His struggle to maintain work-life balance while managing high-stakes investigations reflects challenges faced by today's professionals in demanding fields. The stress management techniques he employed, from his evening garden rituals to his methodical documentation practices, demonstrate timeless strategies for maintaining mental health under pressure. His ability to find meaning and purpose in routine tasks offers valuable lessons for anyone seeking fulfillment in their professional life. Perhaps most significantly, Marcus's story illustrates how individuals can effect meaningful change within large bureaucratic systems. His determination to pursue reforms despite anticipated resistance shows that progress often comes through persistent, incremental improvements rather than dramatic revolutions. The way he balanced technical expertise with ethical considerations provides a model for navigating complex organizational environments. His experience demonstrates that real change typically emerges from deep understanding of existing systems combined with unwavering commitment to improvement. The historical significance of Marcus's work extends to our understanding of Roman society itself. Through his daily activities, we gain insight into how the empire managed its vast resources, maintained social order, and adapted to changing circumstances. The very existence of a sophisticated bureaucracy capable of handling complex financial transactions across thousands of miles speaks to the advanced nature of Roman administration. Marcus's career exemplifies how professional specialization contributed to the empire's longevity and success. As we reflect on Marcus's contributions, it becomes clear that history is not merely a collection of grand narratives, but a tapestry woven from countless individual threads. Each entry in his ledgers, each investigation he conducted, and each reform he proposed represents a small but vital part of this larger picture. The true measure of historical significance lies not in dramatic events alone, but in the cumulative impact of dedicated professionals performing their duties with care and integrity. Marcus's story reminds us that the foundations of civilization are built not through spectacular achievements, but through consistent, conscientious effort. In documenting Marcus's experiences, we honor not just his personal contributions, but the collective achievement of all those who have worked to maintain the financial integrity of their societies. From ancient Rome to modern times, the principles of honest accounting, careful record-keeping, and systematic analysis have remained essential to social stability and economic prosperity. Marcus's life serves as a testament to the quiet heroism of those who work behind the scenes to keep the wheels of civilization turning, reminding us that the most important historical figures are often those whose names never appear in text. As Marcus settles into another day's work, his story continues to unfold, carrying forward the legacy of Roman administrative excellence, while offering timeless lessons for future generations. His example demonstrates that true historical significance often lies hidden in plain sight, embedded in the daily routines of those who dedicate themselves to the greater good. Through his quiet professionalism and steadfast commitment to excellence, Marcus embodies the enduring power of ordinary people doing extraordinary work, a reminder that history is made not just by those who seek glory, but by those who pursue duty with integrity and purpose.